Okay, so welcome to part 2. In this part we are going to learn about the editor, and the last part we just created the project and we are here. You will have sort of this layout. So first what I want is to close all windows, and we will remain with this viewport. We call this the viewport. This is where our game world exists. Unreal Engine has provided us with some starting world to get started, but of course we can change that world however we like. In order to move in that world, in this world over here, we can press the right click in order to capture our view, and by moving the mouse we can look around. And you see, if I release the right click, so with right click you can move, and we can use, like in a game, while pressing right click and having captured the viewport, we can press WASD to move around, and you move in the direction you are facing. So yeah, you can see our world over here. You can use Q and E to move down and up respectively. So yeah, and you can basically move you will get used to it. It's with practice you will learn how to move fast. So yeah, another last thing I want to cover about movement inside the editor is with the mouse wheel you can change the speed of your movement. Okay, so you see that if I scroll down I don't move at all while pressing, but if I scroll up I can increase the speed, and you see I move very fast and can even see the whole world. Okay, that's a nice view. So yeah, let's go back to, I guess, here. Okay, so yeah, now let's say I want to add something in our level. We need somehow to place objects inside. So let's go to window and let's go to place actors. Okay, so this window will open, and we can go over here. Here we have a lot of objects. So let me explain. Actors are basically objects. Actors is what Unreal calls objects. Okay, so you can think that an actor is an object. Okay, so here we have, I will refer it to as actors because it's the Unreal Engine vocabulary. And yeah, let's here we have all sorts of actors, and we have some basic shapes over here, and we can take a cube and drag it in the level. Okay, so we drag in the level. Let's move a bit. Okay, you can press F in order to focus on the currently selected object. And yeah, you can move now this object by selecting it. If I press escape, we deselect it, and if I press left click on it, we select it, and it shows this gizmo, these arrows, and by left clicking on them we can move this cube on its axis, on the Z axis, which means up and down, on the X axis right and left, and Y axis forwards, backwards, of course if we look it from here, yes. Okay, so yeah, or you can move this with this dot. And right now we can even play our game if you want. It doesn't have much, but if you press over here in this green play button, and then capture the editor. You can see I can move with again like I move in the editor, but now we collide also with the ground with this cube, and yeah, this could be your first game. And if we press escape, we can get out of the play. So we can add other shapes simply by drag and drop and just move with the arrows I showed you. Okay, so we can have some nice shapes. Okay, these shapes cannot only be moved, they can be rotated and scaled. So let's go up here. You can see that right now we have selected to translate objects, which basically means to move objects. Okay, here if we select this, you can see that a new gizmo has appeared in our currently selected object, and we can use this gizmo to rotate our object. Okay, so yeah, you can rotate, and if you select another one, you can rotate too. You can rotate the sphere, but you don't see much difference, and you can rotate the cube. Okay. Also, we have the last way to modify the appearance of an object. Each object has a location, a rotation, and a scale. So right now that I have pressed this, I can scale this cube. So you can see I can scale it on here, on this axis, on that axis, and let me move, and on that axis. Okay, or I can scale it on all axes and make it huge. Okay, so let me make this small again, and again we can press F to go back to the selected object. Okay, so yeah, let's you can notice that when we, for example, okay, so let me show you some shortcuts for because I will use those shortcuts unconsciously, and you may get confused. If while selecting an object, if you press Q, W, if you press Q, you will go back to selecting objects, and if you press W, you will move the object. Basically, when you press W, the gizmo to move the object will appear. When pressing E, the gizmo to rotate the object will appear, and when pressing R, the gizmo to scale the object will appear. Okay, so from now on I will use these shortcuts because I have gotten used to them. So yeah, you can see it's kinda faster than going over here and pressing this button to move, this to rotate, this to scale. And you can, if you don't remember the shortcuts, when you hover over these buttons at the top right, you see in the parentheses the W button, the E button, and the R button. Okay, so yeah, and if we move an object right now, you will notice that it kind of moves like incrementally. So it moves like it's in a grid, and it's because of this at the top right. You can see that if we disable this, it moves more freely, and if I enable this and have it to something like 50, you can see that it moves each time 50 units. And now again, same thing for the rotation. Right now we move 10 degrees each time. You can see 10, 20, 30, 40. Okay. We can have this rotate 90 degrees each time. Okay, and same from scale for scale. Okay, let's have that like, and you see it scales up 1 unit per time, and we can turn this off and have it more freely. Okay, so yeah, Um, now let's add another actor. We can add a light to our scene. You can go over here, and we can add a point light, which is basically a light that sends light in a sphere, a shape sphere you can see over here. And you can see we light up our object. It's very nice. And yeah. So let's now let's say that you want to add a chair in the game. Right now we can't add the chair because we can only add these cubes for what we know. And you could make an FBX file, a 3D model in another software, and then import it in Unreal. But where would you import it? And the place where you would import it is the content browser. You can see at the bottom left we have a content browser, and if you click it, it opens. If you remember, for the setting app we did in the first part, we tick the box where it said started content, and that's why we have this folder already inside our project, which has some assets to begin with. And if we go over here to props, you can see we have some 3D models that were made by Epic Games, by the Unreal team, and they provide us with those over here. So we can have this chair and drop it into the level. Okay, so now we have a chair. There are several ways you can open the content browser, where you can either click on it over here and then it closes automatically. You can go to window or content browser 1, and it will be docked over here, so it will move. Let me close that. Or you can press Control and space and toggle it like that. I will have it docked because I think it's more easy to follow, even though the viewport is kinda restricted right now. And you can click over here, props, and we can add as many chairs as we want. We can add let's add a table, okay? So here we have a table. Now that we have some nicer objects in our scene, in our map, I would like to delete those white shapes we previously added. So we can click on them and then press the right click, and we have some options over here, and we can go to edit and delete. Or you can, while selecting the object you want to delete, you can press the delete button on your keyboard, okay? So yeah, we have deleted our objects, and now let's say I wanted to duplicate this chair so that I have another chair in the other side. Let me move a bit. Okay, so in order to duplicate this, we can again right click, go to edit and duplicate. And if I move it now, you can see that we have 2 chairs, and we press the shortcut E to go to the rotating gizmo and rotate it. Okay, so now we have 2 chairs. Very nice. And let's grab the light and bring it over here. Okay, very nice. You can also duplicate objects by pressing Ctrl D. Here we have 2 objects. If you want to undo an action you did, in this particular case I want to undo the duplicate action I performed, you can press Ctrl Z. Right now it will undo the movement I did on the chair, but if I press a second time it will undo the duplicate action I performed. And here we go. Now let's say I wanted to move this to, let's say, over here in this point. In order to select multiple objects at once, you can select an object and then press Shift and selecting the other objects. And don't forget that all these are objects. Unreal calls them actors, and light is an object, the chairs, and our table. So we can move all of those objects together over here. Okay, so let's say I wanted to change the color of this light to red. Where would I go to do this? Each actor, each object has some properties, some attributes to it, and we can tweak them. Each color, for example, has a color, how bright the color is, and all of that stuff. So in order to edit the properties of the light actor we have right now in our scene, we can go to Window and go here on the details. Okay, and this window will open up, and here you will see that we have many attributes that we can edit for our currently selected actor object. And you can notice that each time I change my selected object, my selected actor, this window changes too. Okay, so let's select the light, and you will notice that here we have a property called light color, and this color will be bringed up. You can just tweak the value of the color with this nice color wheel, and you can see that right now we have the color red. Okay, so we can also adjust the intensity, how bright the color is, and other stuff like that. So yeah, that was about it. So to revise, let's revise a bit about the windows that we have over here. This is the viewport over here. This is a window where we can it can use to place actors. The content browser is a window that allows us to import to Unreal assets that then we can use to make up our levels. And we have the details, which while each actor we select, we can change his properties. Okay, so yeah, that was about part 2, and yeah, make sure to like the video, subscribe, leave a comment if you have any question, feedback, or anything else. Yeah, that's it. Bye.